think this is quite a club to be in when these enemies that have hijacked our country keep claiming we're the foreign operatives when they're the ones that have sold this country out, and Trump's now ending that, so they're panicking. So thank you for joining us, a great swamp creature slayer, Roger Stone.
Alex, I'm delighted to be among the MVPs with you. It's an exclusive club, but I'm proud to be your friend.
Where should we start here? You just heard what I laid out from my sources. I know you don't really want to get into your details much, but what can you tell people?
Well, first of all, I can confirm much of what you learned from my own independent sources. I think, in fact, Sean Spicer is on his way out, was never a particularly good fit. He has upgraded his clothing a little bit, but he's not Trump's kind of guy. He's not a true believer in the Trump agenda. He came from the Republican National Committee. You'll recall back in September of last year, he said if Trump doesn't get these poll numbers back, the RNC will have to suspend its financial support of the Republican nominee for president. Unheard of. Unheard of. Dick Nixon, Ronald Reagan would be rolling in their graves. The Republican National Committee.
Roger, we got your phone dying there. Yes, your phone's breaking up. We're going to call you right back. We're going to call Roger Stone right back and reconnect. He's on the streets there in New York City. This just broke on Infowars.com. White House source, Spicer out as Trump begins purge of establishment advisors. Fox News host Kimberly Guilfoyle set to be new press secretary as president cleans house. Obviously, I gave Paul these sources. We probably need to update that or not correct it, but clarify it. Kimberly Guilfoyle is being looked at. And she was passed over once. So the word is from Trump is he said, do you think she'd still do it? So she's certainly being looked at and is in the front-running seat. So Fox News' Kimberly Guilfoyle is in the lead to get the new press secretary job, we should say. She's in the lead. To clarify that, White House sources tell Infowars that Sean Spicer is said to be fired as President Trump begins a purge of establishment advisors who he feels have failed to properly investigate leaks coming from within the administration. Speculation is already swirling as to whether or not Spicer will return after he was benched and temporarily replaced with Deputy Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Sources tell Infowars that Spicer has behaved like a deer in the headlights in recent weeks. That's a quote from the president, and is not able to handle the pressure of the job. Infowars can reveal that Spicer will be gone by next week and that his replacement is likely to be former prosecutor and current Fox News host Kimberly Guilfoyle, was previously considered for the role. White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus could also be on the chopping block. Trump wants to get rid of him. As President Trump begins a purge of moderate advisors whom he feels have performed poorly when it comes to investigating the source of leaks that have provided embarrassing for the administration. Let's go back to Roger Stone. Roger, your phone cut out. Let's continue back with what you were trying to get out to people.
Yeah, I think I was going to make the point that Sarah Huckabee is an excellent number two. It's important that you have a backup spokesperson. I think she's done a very good job the last several days. And as you indicated, if they are able to recruit Kimberly Guilfoyle, a former prosecutor, Fox News commentator, Hispanic woman, sharp as a tack, very close to the president and his wife personally, that would be a 10 strike, a Trump loyalist. So I'm very optimistic. I hear, as you do, that is going to happen. I know the president looked at her earlier for this position, felt it was important to let Reince Priebus have his own man, a decision I think he now regrets. The other thing, Alex, that I think is notable is General McMaster, as Mike Cernovich reported on this program a week ago, does appear, in fact, to be on his way out. The chemistry between he and the president is just not good. I don't think they're going to dump him. I think they're going to promote him. He's clearly highly capable in the right job. I'm not sure this is the right job because I think he carries the neocon water. Let's remember, he and General Mattis together wanted to send 150,000 troops to Syria. And I can report that virtually no one in the White House inner circle opposed that, but one man, Donald J. Trump.
So continually his own man. What about the hoax that you got Trump to make the decision to dump the FBI director? I mean, it was known at the time when President Trump got elected and when he got inaugurated that he was looking at Comey and that it was basically on the bubble 50-50 whether he was going to get rid of him just because of his bizarre behavior. And then now his statement that he got nauseous, that he helped Trump get elected, totally political. And then, of course, he's in the news saying Trump was crazy to think Obama surveilled him. Well, Trump's the president now. He knows he was surveilled. He's had the head of the House Intelligence Committee, Nunes, tell him that, but he's the president. He's got access to all that. He just can't say it because it's a national security issue. So they're hiding behind all the secrecy to cover up the crimes they've committed. And now the Associated Press reported last week, so did Breitbart, that Obama sought NSA intel on thousands of Americans Trump campaigned during election. That's what they did. They've been caught. They were in the front page of the New York Times 15 times, naming you by name. On January 20th, they had 2 articles saying that they had the intercepts of Roger Stone and of your former campaign partner, business partner, Manafort, all with the Russians getting orders. The truth is they were surveilling you, but there's nothing there. Nunes has read the transcripts. It's all a load of horse crap, like you said on January 20th.
Yeah, so it's a witch hunt. It's a scandal in search of evidence. You're exactly right, Alex. And this one is pretty easy. CNN, Politico, both reported that I persuaded the president to fire James Comey. And the president put out a tweet saying that wasn't the case.
Because it's James Comey. It's James Comey that got him fired. It's Hillary that lost the election. It's their fault. Their fault. Take responsibility. Stop calling us Russian agents.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And in this case, as you know, I have always taken the position that I was not going to comment on the scope or the subject or the frequency of my calls with the president. I'm not going to start now, and I'm not going to contradict him. But since I know the president watches InfoWars, and since I know he reads Stone Cold Truth, my views on Comey and the fact that he should have been fired back seconds after Trump because they took his hand off the Bible would be well known to him. No one tells Donald Trump what to do. No one. Other than maybe the American people.
I'll tell you this. Here's their biggest problem, Roger. They said fire Comey for the last 3-4 months constantly. Hillary said it last week. Now she loves him. So if everybody's saying fire Comey and he's doing weird stuff and is on a power trip just like Brennan was, I can't believe Brennan couldn't believe he was fired when he told the president, watch your mouth. What are these people's problems?
Because they're elites. They're arrogant, ruling elites, and they think they're more powerful than our elected officials to whom they're supposed to be responsible.
Which shows the power trip. Imagine to his face telling him, watch your mouth. Imagine the FBI director saying he's crazy. I mean, these people are arrogant. What is their problem?
Well, and this morning when I was on CNN with Chris Cuomo, we had a very spirited exchange. He told me that his sources in the FBI told him that the agency, the morale had hit rock bottom. They were distraught over the fire of Comey. What planet does he live on? The agents I've talked to, and I know many, they're ebullient over his firing. They believe he politicized this agency and he tarnished its image for integrity.
Well, let's go further. The new director's wife is a huge Democrat that gave $600,000 to Hillary. The acting FBI director is a Clinton ally, Infowars.com. Jamie White likely has his time at the FBI will be short as the head. Trump's got to get rid of all these Democratic operatives that have politicized. They're going to claim this is another Russian cover-up. There's nobody covering up the Russian thing because there's nothing there. Let's play your clip from NBC. Here's Roger Stone. I'm so sick of this. I mean, I would tell Roger at dinner, hey, stop getting so mad. I mean, I've known Roger, I met him like 4 or 5 years ago, but known him good for like 2 years. He'd start just getting really cussing, getting mad. And then when they accused me of actually being run by the Russians, I got mad because it's like saying, you know, you're a rapist when you're not, or you're a child molester. I mean, it's like defaming you by a bunch of globalist traitors that have sold the country out and are trying to overthrow the president who just wants to cut taxes and empower the middle class again and defend our borders and bring back sovereignty. And then these scum, these arrogant scum, Roger.
Yeah, no, you got these elitist pukes, and they're accusing us of treason. Look, I know a lot of liberals who I think are misguided and wrong, but I think they're loyal Americans. I just think they're misinformed and they're incorrect, but I think they're loyal Americans. This is a whole new thing where if you're not for thermonuclear war with the Russians over Syria, well, then you must be a traitor to the United States. You must be in Vladimir Putin's pocket. Donald Trump has no illusions about the Russian gulag. He has no illusions about how rotten their system is, the way the Russians oppress gays and Christians and Jews. He knows it's a rotten system, but he'd like to try to sit down and negotiate a fair peace before we go to thermonuclear war.
Well, let's expand. Russia's not expanding. Russia's not trying to take over. A lot of that stuff they say Russia does is exaggerated compared to the Muslims. I mean, the Muslims are crawling all over us. Russia's not doing anything. It's fighting our shared enemy.
And frankly, if we could put our differences aside and work together to crush ISIS, we'd be far, far more effective.
Let me ask you this. I got from my sources that Trump is white-hot mad. CNN says that, too, that he yells and cusses at the television. It's not that he's hiding the Russia thing. He's so angry because he has all the intel of what the Clintons did with Russia and China, and he's been saying, do something to the Attorney General. I'm sick of being accused of what I haven't done, and that Comey wouldn't do anything. That's not him trying to hide the Russia thing. They're making all this up, and then I talked to you about it. You said, indeed, the president is white-hot and that the gloves are off. Can you elaborate on that from your sources?
Yeah, first of all, I have a number of questions today, Alex. People asking me whether the president is distraught, depressed. No, he's none of those things. He's actually in an incredibly good mood. He's a fighter. He likes to fight for what he believes in. He's not going to back down from a fight. I think he's having the time of his life because he realizes this is the fight for America's future. This idea that he is, somehow hiding in the bushes or that he's shook from his agenda, none of that is true. None of it.
In fact, who's hiding is a bunch of people under him that are cowards and do think mainstream media is still God. And, I mean, I've seen Spicer. He acts like a deer in the headlights and yells out to the press, Comey's fired, and kind of hides and looks shaken. What's his problem?
Well, I think that some on the White House staff, perhaps him, are the ones who put out this story yesterday that appeared in Politico, picked up by CNN, that I had advised the president to fire Comey. Their reasoning is simple. Roger Stone, Nixon, Saturday Night Massacre. The way we poison the idea of firing Comey is to attribute it to Roger Stone.
That's right.
No one.
Stay there. Let's do 5 more minutes. I know you got to go, but 5 more because they want to... his own people undermine him, cripple him, and make him a creature of the deep state. And Trump is understanding they're not complying. They're not helping him restore the republic. They're a bunch of rats. And he's lining up the political guillotines for Spicer, Priebus, and the other vat of turds. We'll be back. I'm ranting. I apologize, Roger. Finish up your point. I want you to get in. You're coming to Austin, other tidbits. And then also, I want to ask you, I know that you've talked to some little birdies and people and have heard some of the names swarming around. Obviously, we've talked about who the president reportedly is considering if he can get her, is, of course, Guilfoyle of Fox News fame, a great, very competent, focused, smart prosecutor and journalist, would do a great job. Obviously, in this age of claiming there's a glass ceiling, could we see a woman, the first FBI, I mean, I know we already had one woman, and it's okay that he was a tranny. I'm not against trannies. We had J. Edgar Hoover. But could we actually have a biological, real woman? I know Bill Nye says chromosomes don't have anything to do with it. So should we get a female FBI director or maybe maybe make Caitlyn Jenner the new FBI director?
No, actually, I was thinking of Judge Jeanine Pirro, former prosecutor, respected judge, smart as a whip, tough as nails, a tremendous reputation for integrity. Yeah, I think we should have a woman FBI director. We've obviously had an FBI director who wore a dress before, but we've never had an actual female. Actually, I don't think that's true, by the way, but that's a story for another day. It would be excellent. I thought Pat Buchanan was making a key point, but I would make this observation. Things have changed a bit since Pat was in his heyday, even when he was giving valuable service to Ronald Reagan, because of the rise of a vibrant and robust alternative media. What's really driving the mainstream media and the elitist media crazy is that they no longer have a monopoly. They have to compete now. They have to compete with Infowars.com and Breitbart and Daily Caller and Town Hall and Michael Savage and so many others. They can't get over the fact that there's competition in the marketplace and that smart voters, smart viewers, see your stuff at Infowars, see it at CNN, and they figure out that they are fake news and that there's better alternatives.
And that's why they're trying to shut us down. It's why they're coming after us. It's why they're doing all this, because they understand we really do have more viewers than CNN. We really do reach more people. I mean, CNN is on every airport. They force feed it in college, in public school, but that's it. Just like Bill Nye, the anti-science guy.
Exactly right. So, I mean, look, I love Pat Buchanan, and we go way back to the Nixon days. I think he's a true patriot. And he's absolutely right. There's an arrogance. They couldn't beat Nixon at the ballot box, so they took him down. They couldn't beat Trump. Now they're going to try to take him down. This whole whipping up a hysteria because he doesn't fit their model of what a president should be. Trump is crazy. We had a pervert as president. We had a serial sex criminal as president of the United States, but nobody decided he was
who
crazy.
Stole the 97% of the Haitian money, who's committed so many crimes, Chinese communist agents, gave them the missile secrets, thousands of times what they could ever even claim that Trump's done with no evidence. And that's what's crazy, is everybody who has any memory or historical context knows it's the Democrats that have been in bed with the Russians. The Republicans never have been. It's you that helped round up in the 80s Russian spies. It's Roy Cohn of the Un-American Activities Committee that Donald Trump basically got tootled by. All this is going on, and they know that's the reality, and they knew that Trump was planning to go after him for their China connections. And so what did they do? They threw it back at him, and I think he knows the only thing he can do to defeat them is go on the offense. And I hope we get a new FBI director. And any other tidbits on Sessions, because I know he's a hard charger. He wants justice. I mean, if they want a Russia investigation and a China investigation, shouldn't we give them one?
Yeah, I think the Attorney General should impanel a grand jury and pull Susan Rice in, pull Valerie Jarrett in, pull his fellow Rhodes in, Barry himself. I want to find out what Obama knew and when he knew it regarding the unmasking of surveillance data and what he knew about surveillance at Trump Tower under oath. Just like they want me to testify for the House and Senate Intelligence Committee, at least they say they do. I'm not sure I believe it. I think it's time to expand the investigation of those two committees to include Democratic malfeasance and the misuse of the spy network paid for by the taxpayers. This guy McCabe, the number two guy at the FBI, he wanted to use taxpayer money to pay for the phony dossier that smeared Donald Trump as having had, watched a bunch of prostitutes in Florida in his hotel suite. A total fraud. Never happened. Not even a chance that it happened.
Oh, let me tell you about BuzzFeed. Let me tell you about BuzzFeed that made up the Wee Gate thing. It was totally made up, and they admit was made up. They're being sued over. They literally had a guy following me around for months, and you read the article, half of it's total fiction, just totally made up, and the rest is like twisted, made up garbage. I mean, the most crazy, made up, insane trash. And that's who these people are. They're fiction writers claiming we're fiction writers, Roger.
No, I saw the BuzzFeed publisher, editor Ben Smith on TV last week. I think he's in a weight gaining contest. Looks to me like he's winning. This is the day the Hindenburg went down, and it reminded me of that. I don't know what Ben is eating, but there's a lot of it.
Hey, I look forward to seeing you this Sunday. I'm sure you'll be back on with all these developments that are happening, and look forward to working with you a lot closer as we defend the Republic.